Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to Record Breakers, a podcast where a group of friends gather together to talk about music, share music with each other. We take turns sharing an album that we enjoy, we're curious about, or we just wanted to make the other people listen to for whatever reason. We take turns and share it. We all share our thoughts. It's like a little book club for music. It's really fun. I'm Peter Rave, your man with no plan. Here with me is my team, my squad, my crew. We've got Brett.
Knock, knock. Open up the door, it's real. With the nonstop pop and stainless steel.
We've got Drew.
Not saying the first DMX lyrics that always come to my mind when I think of them. So I'm going to pass on that one.
Yes. And we've got David.
The High Chief Jamel Reef takes the stage.
Yes. I don't know. Some kind of fuzz is happening.
Yeah, I'm feeling the fuzz too.
I didn't do anything.
Jiggle the cable.
Jiggle the cable. All
right. It's a brand new cable. It's the second time I've used it.
We can't figure out whose cable it is. This is great.
Yes.
It's everybody's cable and nobody's cable all
it's
at the
internet's
same time.
Cable.
This is only the second time I've used this cable. It is brand new. What the hell?
Yes. All right. Moving on.
I bought it. I bought a new cable just for Record Breakers, just for joining Record Breakers.
Yes.
Oh God, it's great. I love it.
I also have a back cable.
Cheers, y'all.
I'm gonna say it's probably Drew. But yeah, moving on. We're going to talk about music. We're going to be talking about an album. And it is officially now officially the time for DJM to be bringing his first album as an official record breaker. Deej, what do you got for us?
Ladies and gentlemen, Record Breakers fans, this is my first album officially as a member of the Record Breakers podcast, not just as a guest. And my album for the first time is the 2016 output from Detroit-based rapper Danny Brown entitled Atrocity Exhibition. Edie Rave?
Yeah. This is a really cool and interesting album, and I'm always excited about listening to new hip-hop that I haven't ever heard of. But let's go to the guys. Brett, what were your expectations coming into this album?
What do you think? This is definitely a new flavor for me. As a guy who the hip hop he listens to is like 35 years old and not necessarily good. It's probably good for me to hear things that have happened in recent memory. So yeah, I came into this completely fresh.
Mm-hmm. Funky fresh. Drew. What were your expectations coming into this album?
I'm tutting.
Well, I have heard the name Danny Brown thrown around here and there, but it's not something I ever dove really deep into. I've never heard it played from anywhere else before, which is usually if I hear about something and somebody else plays it and I think, okay, then I'll go and search it out. But the name was about all I was familiar with, and not any of the work therein.
Yeah, I as well wasn't familiar with his actual work. I hadn't even heard the name myself, and I usually have been keeping track of at least of a few hip hop artists. But
I mean, honestly, if you would ask me about Danny Brown, I'd be like, is he like a reliever for the New Hampshire Fisher Cats?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a name that, well, yes, it's Danny Brown. So
yes, Danny Brown.
That's his name.
Yes,
Danny
there's
Brown.
A lot of those.
Isn't he a governor?
Oh no, that's Jerry Brown.
That's Jerry Brown, as Jello Biafra would tell you.
Yeah. But yeah, Deej, David, how would you describe this album musically?
Ooh, wow. Okay.
Good luck, buddy.
Given that I'm the one that brought this album to the podcast, you'd think I wouldn't have a problem with this. But the thing is that the phrase experimental hip hop gets thrown around a lot, especially in the last few years. But I really think that Danny Brown is a guy who is a rare combination of impeccable lyrical skill and creativity while also being incredibly risky with the producers he works with and the beats he looks for. And I feel like Atrocity Exhibition, I would say, is probably the best example of experimental hip hop by a guy who had been around hip hop for so long and just needed to do something completely out there. I've heard some people say that in some ways Danny Brown is the spiritual successor to the late great Russell Simmons, aka the Old Dirty Bastard. And there are some comparisons there. I can see that, but even with some of his older work, Danny is definitely his own guy and carves his own path. And whether you want to go on that path or not is entirely up to you.
No word if he has shown up to pick up his welfare check in a limo.
No, he has not gone that far.
Chris Rock has not done a opening monologue that did not hit a year after. Yeah. That's my ODB memories are weird ones.
Yes.
I think it probably mostly, that comparison would mostly be from like the sense of unease that some of it brings, but we'll get to that.
But yeah, Brett, how would you describe this album musically? What would be the themes elements that caught your attention?
I'm just going to come out here and tell everybody, Brett Hibbard, hip hop aficionado, I have all the vocabulary to review this in the best way. No, it's pretty easy to start with the vocals on this album. The lyrics, yes, but the way that they're presented, yeah, it's a pretty great identifier as a musician to be able to have something you hear and be like, that is most definitely this person, without them having to yell their name out like 4 or 5 times.
And I can assure you, Brett, on any guest verse that he does, everyone knows that it's Danny Brown instantly. on any feature, any guest verse, it's always, there's Danny.
Yeah.
It's not DJ Khaled syndrome.
And yeah, it's not like it's not a sound that has been. I haven't met this delivery before. I did see the attention in the production detail. There's some weird shit going on in the background. There's also copious amounts of vibra slap, like not just on single song, like somebody's just out there I'm kind of like I have all sorts of stuff around here, still don't have a vibra slap to go and like make the noise for you. So there, I just folied it. Yeah, they are cool, but like that is the sprung of the album. Like I enjoyed. There were also like weird like pitch shifted like samples of children saying things that were like every time I listened to this album, I was finding other weird things that were in the beat. But like this is a very, lyrics forward album. So like the stuff that's in the background, it's back there for a reason. It's not trying to step on the mix at all. And it just like, yeah, I very much enjoyed every time I listened through being like, what the hell was that? And like, is it going to ever be again on this song? Nope, sure isn't.
Drew, how would you describe this album musically?
I ended up thinking about this album that it is weird in all of the right ways for me, for what's achieved here. It does a thing for me that's really great in hip hop, which is the music in the background actually like not only complementing the word flow, but also the content of it, which I think is really great. Brown's delivery is unorthodox, to say the least, as far as tone goes, but I think it works really, really well. There's still a percussiveness to it, which I think you need when some of the actual backing music doesn't have that maybe forefront percussiveness that a lot of hip hop and rap does, but the tonality of it lends something that's really, really cool. The music at times he sings about the things he knows, which are quite dour at times, quite horrific. And the almost horror movie element to some of those songs, I think, is really, really cool. That musicality to it, I think, is really awesome. There was also the features. A lot of rap songs have features, and I think I've said it before and I'll say it again. The features need to be used well. There's a verse on here that might be the best verse uttered by the person uttering the verse, and it's not even his record, which is weird.
You mean Kendrick?
Yeah, no. Earl.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
Earl.
Be Real.
Earl. Same song.
Be Real. Right?
Yeah.
You bring in Be Real for a chorus. And
we have things to talk about.
Earl Sweatshirt's verse on the song Really Though has gotten all sorts of critical acclaim.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
We'll talk about the tracks in a moment.
Yeah, we'll definitely get that. But like that's the theme of the album sort of parlays throughout the whole thing. There are some really serious things that are like dealt with in this album, and they're dealt with in a very like sort of I would say ear-catching way, I guess you could say. The video for some maybe eye-catching, but it's that dealing with serious topics in a way that doesn't take away from the seriousness of the topic, but yet still lets you enjoy a fun track is something that not many people can do. I brought RTJ3, which I think does it really well, and I think it's done really well here. But this is definitely more personal than something like that. This is...
Oh, so you heard Danny on Hey Kids.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
That was him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was a really, if I remember correctly, it was a really good feature. Yeah, this album is anxious. This album is very anxious and hectic. It's also pretty British. I think that is helped out by the fact that the producer is British. And I think that musically it's pretty fantastic for that on that regard. But yeah, let's talk about some of the key tracks. David, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
Oh man, there is so much about this album that I genuinely love. Of course, the single "Ain't It Funny," which has become like my drinking song. "Ain't It Funny" is my drinking song. Make of that what you will. Gold Dust, When It Rain, and
Stevie
Dance
Nicks,
in the Water.
Sorry, I'm too late to be stepping on you.
The Rhodes one?
The second half of the album really kicks into high gear for me. Like, where Ain't It Funny is really the middle point of the album, the second half of the album is where it really kicks into second gear. I do love the opening track, Downward Spiral. Make of that what you will. But I would really say just everything production-wise, I just love how strange and unusual it really is, especially in comparison to a lot of hip-hop. It's just so off the wall. Yeah. I would say the single, Ain't It Funny, and Downward Spiral are the two songs for me the most.
Mm-hmm. Brett, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
Really Dough. I thought the beat and the bells worked really well together. It's a fairly straightforward and simple, like, it's just a beat with some bells. But like every now and then they'd bring in some like really blow in sustained piano just for like a couple pecks and like some scratching, and it's a good way to not muddy up the mix and let the vocals come out, like do weird things at both the like ends of the spectrum, like the low and the highs, so that they don't step on the voice. I thought that was pretty great. Ain't It Funny? I will tell everybody you should probably go and watch the video for this. It's a thing. And I will. The only thing I really want to like focus on is there's a guy who is wearing a giant Xanax bar costume. Like it's like a 7-foot tall Xanny bar. So yeah, it goes places. And it's a song that like it's an interesting song that stood out every time I listened through. But yeah, a dude in a Xanax costume. Like somebody's job was to go into work and make a giant like pill costume for a man to stand in. And
guys, I don't know what it says about me if I say that "Ain't It Funny" is my drinking song. I don't know what that says.
Yeah. The music video also contains smoking crack. But you know that's it's noteworthy. Also,
more than once, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, yeah. I don't want to spoil everything, Drew. And also, like, I want to talk about the song "Get High," because "Be Real" is on the song, and it's not the hottest banger on this album. But we live in a world where like a major chunk of the American population can legally buy marijuana. So it's nice to see the Be Real is still out there talk about getting high. Like it's a thing that old men like him just do like normal. And also Be Real has a voice that I'm like, I could spot that in any song in the world. So it's kind of cool to see that like there's more than one person that can pull that shtick off real good, talking about the weed.
Stay off the weed.
You did it.
Stay off the weed.
Sports, everybody. Not just sports. The people who talk about sports.
Sports.ns.com.
There you go. Drew. What would be
tell that to some of the Browns every once in a while? You guys have done. So Downward Spiral. Starting off with a crazy song that sets up for the rest of this very, very well. Gets you off on the right foot and in the right mindset, I think. When like this is going to be some serious shit that you're going to be on display. I think using the use of emotion and really, really personal subjects is something that's becoming more and more of a thing in rap music lately, and I really, really think it's a good thing. Using poetry in sense to work through issues is a really cool way to connect people. The music gives that horrific mindset to the issues in the song a lot of credence. Really dope. When I say use your features well, damn. Kendrick is sort of the name, right? So you want to use him a lot. You want his voice to be there a lot. So like, yeah, put him on the hook, but then give him a verse to like do his thing. Damn it, the Earl Sweatshirt verse is so good. It's just so good. I feel like it's something that like Brown holds his own here, but like it goes places and it's really cool. And then yeah, I think Be Real maybe should have had a verse on Get High, maybe. But using him for the hook I think was cool. And the way the song sort of builds this like idea of, yeah, the world sucks, but like find the thing that like gives you a little bit of solace sometimes, but realize that little bit of solace is just that, and that eventually you're still going to have to deal with the world, but like use it when you can. I think it's cool. But yeah, like Brett said, Be Real out there in the streets. Like when I think of weed and hip hop, I think of Snoop Dogg, Wiz Khalifa, and Be Real. So I'm glad that Be Real is still out there doing his thing.
I mean, I'm looking up because like you'd think Be Real has got like some openings in his schedule if he needs to lay down I'm just glad like Be Real he's 47. Sorry, I did not mean to make him seem like a really old man, but like I'm sure that He's feeling it when he gets up every morning, and he has to light that novelty large tube.
He's out there doing his thing with the Prophets of Rage.
Yes.
They're still a thing? Oh, good for them.
Yeah, they released an album their album last year. Prophets of Rage.
You know what? Like, pencil that down.
It's like, well, yeah. But yeah, let's bring it back around the horn to talk about some conclusive thoughts. Brett, what will be your conclusion on this album as a whole?
I am very happy that I have listened to this album as much as I have. Does that mean I'm going to continue listening to it at the pace that I was? Probably not. But I like being able to be like, I know what that is. And I would not have been able to hold a conversation or share that music video with my buddy Mark, like without Deej bringing this over. Like, I would not have run into this. This is not something that if I go to any neighborhood I go to and somebody's playing something on the jukebox, I would not be getting this. At least not for a couple of years.
You have actual jukeboxes?
Yeah, the kind that you like anonymously play like 20-minute rock operas when people play too much Nickelback. Like, yeah, the good ones. Or like when you're not even there and you're just wanting to be a dick. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the beautiful TouchTunes app.
Yeah, TouchTunes is an amazing thing.
My favorite basketball team at one point played like 8 plays of Cisco's The Thong Song in a nicer restaurant because Richard Jefferson and Channing Frye were the best together.
I mean, I cannot confirm or deny that I've played the Humpty Dance more than once at a bar in Indianapolis. But yeah.
Lil Jon, snap your fingers. Guilty as charged.
I'll make people listen to some baby metal.
Yes.
I think my song would be the Whisper song.
Yes. Wait to see my dick. Drew, what would be your conclusive thoughts on this album as a whole?
Whisper in your
back
ear.
again. Yeah.
So we went weird places like this album did. No, but this is like Brett. I am very glad that I listened to this album. I'm glad, like, it again came out of left field. Very much something that we haven't gotten before here, but very much something that I'm glad to have had here.
Could have just guessed Swagger would not have brought this album.
No, oddly enough, I don't think so.
This is a different taste. It's the taste of a new generation.
But like what happened when like I actually started like taking the time to like listen to Run the Jewels, I feel like there's going to be time where I definitely go back to this and then go backwards and like look for the other things that Danny Brown has done as a solo artist and groups and stuff like that, and really try to dig in and figure this out, because like there's some weird stuff in this album that I really, really dug, and something that you don't really hear much of. So I think that it's unique voices in music, I think, are always ones that you should take notice of, and I think this one is pretty unique and has some things to say.
Yeah. I think overall it's just a really solid, really interesting, really cool like album to kind of like delve into. Like the beats are really cool. Like I said, like many, there's Paul White being or I think his name is Paul White, being English. It's very that influence is very apparent. Because he has that class of like if you hear some like English hip hop beats and grimy beats, and it all works well, and it all works well to kind of like accent the anxiety and the manicness of like the mood and the subject matter of a lot of what Danny Brown is going for on this album. And then there's like some modern sound that I think that work really well. Like Really Dough is just a modern hip hop track. and there's other and Pneumonia is just a like it's just a modern hip hop track. But I think it works well and it doesn't feel out of place. So I think this is just going to be an album that I would hope that I would have found eventually, but I'm glad I was put in front of me, and I was able to listen to. But yeah, David, what would be your conclusion about this album?
For me, it has taken me a while to really, really like hip hop again, just because of a lot of modern hip hop really hasn't connected with me aside from a few here and there. Danny Brown and this album in particular is very, very relatable to me for a lot of reasons. A lot of the things Danny Brown talks about on this album and others, I am either 1 or 2 degrees of separation from. Danny Brown is a dude from Detroit in his 30s. I'm a dude from Detroit in my 30s. And there are a lot of things on this album that he talks about internally and externally that are 1 or 2 degrees of separation from my own life. The beats, the rhymes, the entire package of the album, for me, are really outstanding. This is an album that was probably the album that I can honestly say truly helped me dive back into hip-hop again. And I just think it's absolutely fantastic. I will be listening to this album again probably later tonight. And I'm super excited for whatever Danny does next.
Mm-hmm. I presume you've listened to some Mega Ran and Samus.
Yes.
Okay, good. Because
hey, did you do the home game? Did you do the home game?
Yeah.
Do your homework.
Because like this is, I think
I've seen him. I've seen him live, just like Petey.
Yeah. Because I think it's a really good time to be a fan of hip hop right now. I think, just because once you actually delve deep and find it, it's really good.
It's not just a lot of party rap like it was for a while. It's there's people with cool stuff and doing cool things.
Yeah. It's almost like it's been picked up by people from all corners of every little bit of every subculture, and it is now a thing like jazz or rock and roll.
Yep, it's a foundational genre.
Thanks, people who came to America after white folks.
Yes. But yeah, now we get to the main event of the evening. We get to the moment we've all been waiting for. We get to our haiku reviews. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's get it popping. Haikus. Brett, what is your haiku?
Deej brings something fresh. It's certainly new to me. Respectably weird.
Mm-hmm. Which is saying a lot from Brett.
This is a fucked up album. There's no getting around that.
Drew, what is your haiku?
Some weird ass music that said a lot of deep things. I was into it.
Mm-hmm. My haiku: dense, frantic hip hop with plenty of modern sounds. Nothing is held back. And David, DJM, what is your haiku?
Fantastic album. Danny Brown is not okay, but neither am I.
Oh yeah,
pretty kind. We're none of us are okay. Yeah, we're all a little weird. We're all a little skew.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Pete.
But yes, those are our thoughts on Danny Brown's Atrocity Exhibition. You can of course find
which is
it
also from a Joy Division song. Joy Division. He
wasn't expecting that.
Oh,
it works.
Danny said that. Danny said that.
When looking up some information about him, apparently he almost got signed to G Unit, but 50 Cent didn't sign him because he didn't like, and I quote, the rocker shirts and the skinny jeans.
Yeah. A guy from Detroit that likes rock music. That's a crazy concept.
Yeah.
Weird, right?
Yeah, weird. But yeah. You can, of course, find this album on our Spotify playlist. Play Record Breakers, the home game. Follow along at home. Do your homework. On that Spotify playlist will be next week's record, and it will be provided by Brett. Brett, what have you for us next week?
Not unlike the movie we were talking about before the show, Point Break, we're going to do some surfing, some butthole surfing, with the album Electric Larryland from Butthole Surfers.
Yeah.
It's the one with that one thing.
It's the one with that song.
It's the one with the song that people know?
Yeah, the song.
Yes. It's the song.
One song
if you watch the Beavis and Butthead movie, you know
Beavis and Butthead.
One.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah. That is next week, and this is this week. And you can, of course, find us all over the internet. David is at Please Call Me DJM. Brett is at Hibbity-Bibbert, HIBBI2IBBARD. Drew's at X4X. I'm at PD Rave. The show's at 4 Record Breakers. It's weird changing your routine.
Patrick is still in the swagger.
Yes, Patrick is still in the swagger. The show's at 4 Record Breakers. Number 4 Record Breakers. RecordBreakersPodcast.com. RecordBreakersPodcast@gmail.com if you want to email us. Rebelli.net for this and other shows. Rebelli TV on YouTube and on other places, mainly YouTube. Yeah, we're on all the things. Subscribe, like, share. Do all the things a podcast audience does. Until next time, hasta los huevos.
Too blue.
This album is not a cry for help, I swear.